Hey fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. This is a video on how to graph the cosine function for an IB Math SL AA course. We use this Oxford textbook for the IB curriculum, and this is in chapter 12. So what we have here is graph y equals 2 cosine 3, the quantity x plus pi plus 1. Kind of need a roadmap. That roadmap is the general equation right here, where A is amplitude, B gives us our period, X is telling us that we are talking about radian, C is a phase shift, and D a vertical shift. So the C pushes it over this way, D pushes it up. A is the amplitude, and this isn't our period, but it gives us our period. Because we are in radian, we do 2 pi divided by B to get our period. I have a 5-step process for graphing these equations. Step 1, mark up the equation. So I'm going to take what I know about the general equation and put that on my specific equation. Amplitude is equal to 2. My period right here is going to be 2 pi over b, or 2 pi over 3, so 2/3 pi. The general equation is minus c. So to get it there, this would be minus a negative. So that means I am going over this way, negative pi, and my vertical shift 1. Step 2 is label the y-axis. So the two values that are going to affect the y-axis are both the amplitude and the vertical shift. So I'm going to label my y-axis right here. Here's x. I start at 1. From 1, I go up 2 units to 3, and down 2 units to negative 1. Step 3 is label my x-axis. So I want to label my x-axis. The two values that are going to affect my x-axis are my phase shift and my period, right? So I start at negative pi. So I come over here at negative pi, and I travel 2/3 of pi. So I start here at negative pi. I end at negative 1/3 pi, right? Negative pi plus 2 pi over 3 is 2/3 pi, puts me at negative 1/3 pi. Step 4, put in your critical points for the function you're talking about. Well, my critical points for cosine, here's my parent graph right here. It starts at 1, goes to 0, down to negative 1, back to 0, up to 1, in a cycle of 2 pi. So that's the same thing that's going to happen here. It's going to start over here, up. In the midpoint right here, it'll be down. And then at the end, it'll be back up. And then step 5 is find an exact value and check your work. So number 5 is check your work. So I'm going to just pick one point that should work. I'm going to pick this point right here, negative pi over 3. I'm going to plug it in here. So I have negative pi over 3 plus pi. So I do in the parentheses first. Negative pi over 3 plus pi. That's 2 pi over 3. Then I have to multiply it by this 3. That's going to give me 2 pi. So everything in that quantity there is 2 pi. So I have 2 cosine of 2 pi plus 1. Cosine of 2 pi on my unit circle is all the way around here. Adjacent over hypotenuse. This whole thing right here is 1 over 1, or 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. So at negative pi over 3, my corresponding y value should be 3. So there's my graph. I'm just going to add one more part to it. That new part is going to be the domain. So the domain on this problem is all values of x between 0 and 2 pi. So I got to take that domain into account. I'm not even in that domain. If I cycle right here between negative pi and pi over 3, I'm going to do one more cycle here. I'm going to go negative pi over 3 plus 2 pi over 3 will put me at 1 pi over 3 plus another cycle. So 1/3 plus 2/3 is 1. 1 plus 2/3 is 1 2/3 pi. And I'm still going to add one more cycle on there. Getting kind of messy here. And then 1 2/3 plus 2/3 is 2 1/3 pi, or 7 pi over 3. Then I go back to my domain for values of x between 0 and 2 pi. And the only thing I want to keep is this portion of the graph, wherever 2 pi is. I know there's a lot here. It's actually not that hard, but it's super complex, meaning there are a lot of little pieces. The key to really complex things with 5, 6, 7 things to remember is to break it down into a systematic approach and only do one step at a time. Okay, thank you for watching.